Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting the like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now, today's first story, I thought we'd dive somewhere else today. We're going into the Petty Revenge subreddit. And it's from a deleted user, but it says, I planted bamboo that overrun my neighbor's property over a security light. About 4 years ago, I used to live in a nice HOA in a small town in Texas, and I enjoyed having only one neighbor over my backyard fence. The plot was about 2 acres, and the other side of the backyard butted up to a hayfield. The stars were beautiful at night because of virtually no light pollution. Until the neighbor decided to install an incredibly bright security light over their back porch, aimed right at my back patio and bedroom windows. I tried to ignore it at first and put shades in the bedroom, but on the patio it was like having a bright LED light in your face all night. I consulted the HOA about adding a privacy addition to my fence to increase its height, and they said no, because it's already the 8-foot max allowed height. They said there was nothing in the bylaws or whatever about bright lights, so nothing they could do. Diplomacy. So I hated for this to be a thing where we finally had a formal greeting after 3 years of back porch waves, but I walked over and rang the doorbell with $20. I politely explained how the light was causing the aforementioned nuisance and asked if there was any way I could convince him to point the light down or in a different direction, and even offered to buy him a case of beer. The $20, out of goodwill, and even a new motion sensing light. He seemed nice and agreed to point it down, but after waiting a month, nothing changed. I went back to have another polite conversation, and he said he had changed his mind and was going to leave it on every night and leave it pointed as is. The petty revenge. Needless to say, I was a bit upset diplomacy failed and started figuring out how to win. If the military taught me anything, there's always a way to adapt and overcome. So I started researching fast-growing plants to create big privacy walls and reading through the HOA bylaws and city-state ordinances about what I could or couldn't plant, and if there was any repercussions for encroachment across the property line. I quickly discovered running bamboo, despite being very invasive, would grow super fast to make the neighbor's house and light disappear from view, and there was nothing on the HOA, state, or city books to prevent me from planting it, or cause legal recourse if it spread and grew on his side of the fence. Only thing he could do is cut anything that grew on his side of the line. So I pulled the trigger and planted a bunch of golden bamboo, which grows at speeds crazy fast in Texas and up to 20 feet tall. I didn't care if it took over the fence line because his house is 15 feet from the fence while mine was 50 yards away. So I planted a bunch right against the fence and only put root barrier on my side to prevent it spreading into my yard. I didn't care if it took over the fence line because his house is 15 feet from the fence while mine was 50 yards away. So I planted a bunch right against the fence and only put root barrier on my side to prevent it spreading into my yard. Within 6 months, his house and light were gone from view, replaced by a pretty bamboo jungle row at the edge of my yard. Within 1 year, he complained it was growing into his yard via mailed letters. It went right into the trash with no response. He rang my doorbell once and I looked at him through the window, but just didn't answer the door. I unexpectedly sold the house and moved 2 years after planning for a career opportunity. It's been 2 years since I sold, and I just checked the property on Google Earth, and his entire backyard is bamboo. Edit. Wow, this post took off overnight. Kinda like bamboo. Thanks for the hilarious responses. The top commenter said on this one, and I was thinking exactly along these lines. They said, as someone who has dealt with bamboo, this is almost nuclear revenge. I heard a similar story in the UK, and I think it was on some sort of news outlet or something like that, or it might be like Nightmare Neighbors. I've looked at so much neighbor stuff that it's just crazy. But it was a few years back when Japanese knotweed was talked about like all the time in the UK. There was a big moment about it. It was on like all the news outlets and stuff like that about how invasive it is. And I mean, I've never seen it in real life myself, but somewhere in the UK, it must have been going crazy. I heard about a story pretty similar to this. It was the neighbor was trying to get revenge on the other neighbor for some reason. And he had some Japanese knotweed. I'm not sure if he planted it or where he got it from, planted it, and basically it ruined 3 people's gardens. It literally took over everything. And in the end, some sort of professional company, because they was trying to spray it and get rid of it and it just wasn't happening, so they had to get a professional company. I don't know how they did it. I don't know if you have to dig it up or what. But anyway, have you ever had any dealings with knotweed or bamboo or just a nightmare neighbor in general? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next one is in the pro-revenge subreddit, so we've gone from petty to pro, although I think the other one was pretty pro-revenge or maybe even nuclear like that comment said. But this one's from Further Dimensions, who says, "Threaten my friend with revenge porn. I'll ruin your whole damn life. My very good friend made some slightly dumb mistakes and sent some pictures to someone that she reasonably thought she could trust, but not knowing much more than his first name, his screen name, and roughly where he lived and the type of work he did. He's not in our country, but has indicated that he would be traveling for work to near us shortly, and they had made some plans to meet. And when she got some red flags and backed out, the dude threatened to publish these pictures online. I am, incidentally, an attorney. So some searching later and gathering up any pictures he sent her of him that could possibly identify him. His online handle let me go to a TikTok page, which led me to an Instagram page with his name on it. That led me to a LinkedIn page with his place of work that matched a picture he sent with a branded polo he was wearing. Some more searching got me the email of the CEO, VP of HR, Operations Manager, and Public Relations Manager. I just fired off an email on behalf of my client of the screenshots of him threatening revenge porn, snippets of the conversation showing that username while he sent that exact picture of him wearing his company's branded apparel, links to how I know it's him, along with pictures he sent her of his motorcycle with a license plate showing, as further proof it's him. I also included screenshots of him discussing a workplace incident that were time-stamped, along with pieces of dialogue, discussing how he had sex with an ex at his place of work and discussing plans to have sex with her in his office as well. I also included a picture he sent of her showing his work laptop with his entire Outlook calendar, along with proprietary information, which he sent to prove he was busy, along with other pictures he took of his workplace with non-consenting employees. I further informed his employees that I will be forwarding all this information to local, to them, law enforcement, and since he had indicated they'd be traveling to the United States soon, we'll also forward this to the local office of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, as since my client is a US citizen on US soil, these threats constituted a federal crime. So that should they continue with his employment and continue with their plans to send him to the United States for work, I will ensure on behalf of my client that federal law enforcement is waiting for him on arrival, which I will do, as one of the assistant US attorneys for this region is a law school buddy of mine. Since I have his license plate number, I know where he lives, and will be contacting his local authorities tomorrow. You dumb motherfucker, thinking you were hiding around anonymity, thinking you could threaten my friend. It took me 45 minutes to destroy your life. The top commenter on that one said, I feel like you win 2024. Legit revenge, check. Person's life now super fucked, checked. Done in record time, also check. Rafster replies to that saying, an OP is a lawyer and use tools from their profession. That's a pro-revenge check too. Party Ring replies to that saying, pro bono revenge. Some people are just so stupid. I was on X, Twitter the other day, just scrolling through the trending stuff, and it's all politics in the moment. I won't get into politics, but this one guy was going absolutely mental in some comments, going through calling people a cuck, the R-slur word, talking about if that person was in front of him, he'd smash their face in, and he was doing this to like multiple people, and it's like, what the hell are you doing? And just out of curiosity, I clicked on his profile, and he's got like a link to his workplace. He's the co-owner of a company within his state, and you can click it and you can see pictures, information, and you just think, what are you doing? I mean, either he just doesn't care, but you think, sure, that's going to bite you in the ass at some point. And this is like a customer-facing job as well. Like if you went into this place, you'd be working with this specific person. I just find that wild. But we're going to sneak on back over to the Petty Revenge subreddit with Dickie Bo, who says, watching my housemate die inside. This happened in my second year of university in the UK, circa 1998. 6 of us shared a house with an even split of boys and girls. John was my best mate and was very shy and had no confidence with girls. He got on really well with the girls we lived with, Sarah in particular. When we moved in, Sarah had a boyfriend who thankfully, after a few months, she broke up as he was a dick. After this, Sarah and John grew closer, and she would quite often sit and cuddle with him while watching TV, dance with him when we were out, and generally spend a lot of time with him. John was clueless about women and thought they were just besties, but it was clear to everyone that they were into each other. The important point to the story is John was still a virgin. Our other male housemate Steve was the opposite of John. He was a player. He had a girlfriend from school who was a few hours away at another uni, so he'd regularly sleep with anyone that would have him. He also had a crush on Sarah and tried it on with her a few times and got rejected. Steve used to take the mickey out of John for being a virgin. At first, it was every so often, and then John and Sarah were getting closer, and he started to call him Virgin Boy in an attempt to belittle him. The rest of us told him to knock it off, but he persisted for a few weeks. Not long after we got back from Christmas break, a few of us were in the living room after uni, and Steve walked in and asked me and Virgin Boy if we'd like to order pizza for dinner. Sarah walked in from the kitchen at that point and walked over to John and sat on his knee, kissed him, looked at Steve and said, "You can't call him that anymore. We had a great time this morning, and he made me come several times. I doubt you've ever managed that with your tiny cock." Oh, gee whiz. But the rest of us sat there trying to stifle laughter. Steve went bright red, mumbled something, and went to his room. Turned out Sarah had made a move on John that morning. They both admitted to being into each other and had slept together. Sarah snapped when she heard Virgin Boy and decided she had had enough of Steve. John and Sarah are still together, married with 3 kids. And I don't think there is too much to say on that one after that, really. But we have got another story. This one was a suggested one. There's no update as such on it, but just a wild situation in itself. It comes from the relationships advice subreddit from Cheeky Hot Chicken Roll, who says, "I, 18 female, left my laptop open and my sister, 15 female, replaced everything in my hobbies and passions section of my resume with just garlic bread as a joke. I unknowingly sent it to about 20 to 30 businesses, and now I have no idea what to do about it." Yes, Reddit. I know how hilarious this sounds, and I promise you, this is not a joke, and I am genuinely freaking out right now. I'm soon finishing up secondary school, high school, and I'm looking for my very first job for the summer. So when I was filling out my resume, I didn't have a lot of experience to mention, so I decided to do a hobbies and passions section, taking advice from others. I stupidly left my laptop out on the kitchen table today while I went to the shop to get some tea, and my gobshite, ooh, this is a Brit, of a sister thought it would be the joke of the century to delete my hobbies and passions section and replace everything with a single bullet point saying, garlic bread. Now, I'd closed the Word document, saving it before leaving. She opened it, changed it without telling me, and saved it and closed it before I came back. She knows bloody well, definitely a Brit, that I'm looking for jobs at the moment, and she knew I'd spent the afternoon working on my resume. I came home with a tea anyway, and since I was happy with the resume, I didn't bother to recheck it. I had no idea someone would change it to garlic bread while I was gone. I sent it to multiple job applications from an online hiring site, which had places hiring in my town. I'd say I sent this garlic bread resume to about 20 to 30 institutions in total. It was only after I sent them that I decided to recheck my resume. When I noticed the horrific alteration, I'm absolutely mortified. I immediately confronted my sister about it, getting the strong sixth sense that she was the most likely culprit. And she thought it was fucking hilarious. She literally laughed until she cried while I was standing there nearly crying from stress and mortification. My sister has always been a joker, and she gets away with bloody murder. But this was so serious. I'm sick of her pulling off this shite to everyone around her, thinking it's funny or cool or something. It was only when I explained to her the full seriousness of the situation and that I had sent it to 20 to 30 places that she copped on and apologized. Not sure if she was being genuine, but the words "I'm sorry" definitely left her mouth. Then she had the audacity to blame me for it, asking me why I hadn't checked it before sending it off. I screamed at her that I checked it multiple times before leaving to get tea and didn't expect anyone to change it while I was gone. She then backpedaled and insisted that she meant it as a joke, like just a prank bruh mentality, but I'm having none of it. I don't know what the hell to do now and rectify the situation. I've never job hunted before. I don't know how serious this stupid mistake is. I live in a large enough Irish town, but small enough for businesses to spread gossip. So I'm terrified they'll all know not to hire the garlic bread girl. Should I email the places I applied to explaining the situation, or will I sound like a complete knob? Technically, it is true garlic bread is a passion of mine, simply because it's delicious. But obviously, it's not resume worthy. The businesses probably think I'm taking the piss, and it's extremely unprofessional. I'm so annoyed that this is my first impression in the working world. I'm not even hired and I fucked up already. Should I resend them my application with my resume fixed? Should I move on and forget about the places I applied and apply to new businesses with a rectified resume? Should I just fucking move town at this point, since I've clearly made a fool of myself already? Also, how do I talk to my parents or sister about her stupid, spoiled, bratty behavior? I've only ever been like a manager once and had to check out a couple of resumes or CVs in my time, not a whole bunch of them. And I ain't got a wild bunch of experience, but I had to read, I can't remember how many it was when we was trying to hire someone. And I had to do it in the second job as well, helping my manager to try and find someone that sort of mesh with me and my skills to do what we needed to do. And they are so boring to read. Like I said, I was no expert at it at all. I just had to sort of read between the lines because you got some people who totally embellish it, some people who play themselves down. But there's always one CV that stands out to me because they had a list of their gaming achievements in there. But that instantly made me go, I want to talk to that person. Unfortunately, they didn't get hired. I wasn't selected in the end, but it was certainly an interesting CV. I can see why you're pissed off about this, having, someone going onto your laptop, changing something which is really important to you. If I was reading through these resumes, as you're going through them, and you do a double take on garlic bread, and you're like, holy shit, yeah, I like garlic bread too. Kitty says, hiring manager here. Considering you're 18 and applying for assuming retail, fast food, customer service type of jobs, no one is going to disqualify you for the garlic bread. If anything, it may have the opposite effect. Maybe they'll make someone laugh and intrigue them enough to schedule you for an interview despite your lack of experience. Hiring managers look at dozens upon dozens of resumes a day. A professional resume is great, but chances are it's generic and something we've seen 1,000 times. Uninteresting. Again, speaking given your age and lack of experience. Don't bother emailing an apology. It won't matter. Write it out. You'll most likely get a call back for adding humor onto your resume, while the other 100 other resumes all read the same. Another commenter says, don't bother changing it and, talks about the sister. Opie says, yeah, I feel so done with her. I've password protected everything before, but this is the one time that I left my laptop open. I've spoken to my parents and I sense that she'll get a right bollocking because of this. It'll make a funny story in the future, but it's not funny now at all, and has seriously affected my mindset and dignity about job hunting right now. And because there's a comment below this who says, forgive me, I'm an American, a right bollocking sounds sexual, am I misunderstanding the slang here? Just to let you know, a bollocking is like getting told off, getting lectured, I'm going to give you a right bollocking. If you're angry at someone, you're going to tell them off, you're going to give them a right bollocking. Someone mentioned below that it sounds like sexual, and I just thought, oof. When you think of it like that, it sounds awful. But what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And let's move on to another story. Now, this one's coming from the Today I Fucked Up subreddit. Embers guy who says, today I fucked up by peeing my pants in front of my date. Embarrassing as heck, guys. I feel disgusted. A real today I fucked up on all levels. I, 23 male, have liked this girl, 23, for around 3 years now. We're in the same university classes, and even during the pandemic when I barely saw her, I was still crushing on her. I asked her out last week and was over the moon when she agreed. Today we met up in a nearby restaurant, and that's where this all started. I have this condition called paresthesia, shy bladder syndrome, where I just am not physically able to pee if other people are around in public bathrooms. Even if I really have to go, I just can't. So, because of my nerves and because of how hot it is and the amount of water I stupidly drank, I ended up going to the bathroom several times, but of course, couldn't pee. Then she told me that if I was not feeling okay, it would be totally fine to go home. I agreed and apologized to her. She ended up paying the bill. It's so sweet, but damn, I really have to pay her back. And we got out. It was somewhere in the parking lot where it happened. I just could not hold it back. I just stood there, traumatized. I did not know this girl well enough, but I was prepared to get ridiculed. She first went, "Oh my god, are you okay?" Then started stroking my back and took off her jacket and put it around me. She told me it could happen to anyone and I should come to her place, which was a 2-minute walk where I could shower. I did agree on it because I felt like a disgusting mess. We went to her place and, well, actually it turned out to be an amazing day. I showered, we watched some cartoons till my clothes were dry, talked about life and deep shit, and she got us ice cream. I know she was trying to make me feel better and I love her for that, but still, I was dying inside. I just left an hour ago because she needs to work in the evening and night. I was at the door when she hugged me and said it was a good day and to repeat it again soon. This was embarrassing as heck, but for the first time in my life, I was not mocked or ridiculed. Even my parents would laugh at me. I feel like I hit the jackpot now, and it kind of feels surreal. She was so damn sweet and reacted this way. Like, wow. How could she be this amazing? How could she like me? I bet she doesn't and just didn't want to make it worse for me today. That's probably it. Anyhow, that's how today I fucked up. Guess now I really have to step up my game to make things right with her. The fella comes in with an update shortly after and says, "Guys, a few minutes ago, she texted me that she is at work and asked me how I'm doing. Then she says for the next date, let's go somewhere in nature to a quiet place or whatever place is comfortable to you and ask when I have time." And I'm seriously shaking. This is absolutely the best ever. Is this even really happening? There is some chance out there for her to be my girlfriend, and it's surreal. And OP gives a final update and says, "Our second date is set now, and I know for sure I won't ruin it. This girl is more than amazing, but so are you guys. Thanks a lot for all your kind, positive, and heartwarming comments. I'll make sure I show it to her. Can't believe this is happening, and we're going out again. Thanks to all of you, and have a very, very great day." Totally forgot to say, but some people ask, so I'll mention it here too. She knows I have the pyresis. I told her when I was at her place. She proceeded to look up more info about it and how it can be treated, and was super supportive. She's totally the best. Never give up. Someone will accept and love you for who you are. What a lovely story with a lovely update attached to it. You know, you didn't fuck up in the first place. Although you see it as a fuck up, it's not really a fuck up. You know, that's a medical condition. But her reaction with empathy is just absolutely what the world needs. But what do you guys make of that situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so, so much. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.